Yeah,
you would like
Ramona
her.
made a lot of this season awkward for me, and it was a little hard to watch. But also, I think it's Housewives as a franchise has shifted, and it used to be kind of a cotton candy fluff kind of show, and it didn't have real world impact or consequences. And who didn't love the beginning of New York when you're watching Bethenny like scrapping up to try to become, Bethenny fucking Frankel, who she is now. And you got to watch all that unfold and watch their lives. And they weren't really celebrities at the time. They weren't known. And they all had their little like passion businesses like Ramona, or real businesses
And they
like
didn't
Jill
know what
Zarin.
Housewives was.
And they didn't know. And it was fun and it was light. Housewives has become very heavy. It's dealing with very big real world issues, and we're dealing with criminal consequences and large consequences, but we're also dealing with societal impact and race and a contentious election and a pandemic. And that's not light and fluffy to watch on TV. So if you're looking for this season of New York to go escape, you're not escaping from shit watching it. You're watching what you might have played out in your own home with your own family, with your own friends, just mirrored back to you on TV. And there's no escapism in it at all. I think that's what people struggled with.
Yeah. And I get that, which is why I think like next season, I do think this cast is going to be the same. And I think they're going to film, and yes, Kathy Hilton will be back.
I enjoyed Kathy so
much. I mean, listen, when they say like, well, listen, I mean, when I've checked the temperature of what people want in a housewife, they don't want relatable. They want over the top of what it started to be, other than Bethenny in her kitchen. They want like out of touch, very wealthy. I hear that all the time. They want their housewives to be wealthy.
We want to peek. We literally want to peek behind a life that we don't live. And Kathy Hilton is that life, with the $25 million home that she's building, with the dog and with the call my lady. And I'm like, oh my God, Kathy. But also it's like, this is her life.
That's what it is. It's like when they say money talks and wealth whispers, like you would never hear Kathy talk about money or brands, or you just, she's like, just come over. And then it's the people that have money, you just find it out over time. Now, of course, everyone knows Kathy has money, but like, right, you're there and like the butler and this and that.
She's
and like
sleeping in and she doesn't give a shit. And she's having the girls go play tennis. She doesn't even come down. I'm sure she wasn't awake yet. And then is in her pajamas. I loved it so much.
I've said that before. I'm like, if Garcelle or Dorit, who have a signed contract, were just like, I'm not coming to breakfast for the all cast, sit around and talk, production would be like, get your ass down there now, or we're going to call the executives and you're done. Like, it's that simple. Kathy, and production is like, just let her sleep. Please. She's
Kathy.
Let's hope she comes back. Please, the gods above, let her come back next season. That's how it goes. Who sleeps through a cast trip? They would be fired.
It was so great. I'm know Kathy's unrelatable, but I related to nothing more than Kathy being like, I've never been on a girls' trip and all I want to do is sleep with my fan. I was like, oh my God, Kathy is all of us. But then she's up in her sister's bed at like 2 a.m. eating chips. It was just so great.
That was, and when she calls Kyle and she's like, well, what do you mean there's not nuts or like whatever? I'm like, these little
Get me
nuances.
Chia. I need chia and a straw.
You're like, we're in the middle of nowhere, wherever they like we don't, it's what, like, what store is that at? Like, well, yes. But so, I mean, I just wonder next season, as we head into next season, like, this is going to have to be continued, but I wonder, like, eventually there needs to be something new. So I don't know if it's going to be like Sutton and Erika trying to repair their relationship, or like Erika just now starting over and saying like, I am moving to like a small 1-bedroom, or, I mean, it's just like, to me, it's like, I don't think as a viewer, maybe then we'll tire of it, maybe not, but I can't see a whole nother season of this.
I mean, there's not going to be the bombshells that there were this season. We've moved into a much more procedural part of this. Of course, unless there is a Fed investigation and all of that falls from the sky, but those things take longer. I think we've run out of the bombshells and are now in the procedural part, but I don't know. It depends how much we see at the reunion and how many bridges get burned. Is it going to be Erika and Rinna like against the world next season?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I've read, because you don't read these, I've read that the whole focus of next season, well, not a huge part, is going to be Kyle's fall from grace with Erika, and it's Kyle versus Erika, and Erika is just going to be, I mean, right now she is not speaking to no Garcelle, no Dorit.
If Erika doesn't yell goodbye, Kyle, I'm going to be pissed. Like there has to be another goodbye, Kyle moment. But how does Erika not know this about Kyle? We saw this play out with LVP. We've already seen this plot line.
Well, this is why LVP is probably just, I mean, she's already said, she's been asked recently. She said she'll come back and work with Garcelle and Sutton. She'll be thrilled, and Crystal. So
I would love to see that pairing together.
Well, listen, there's a lot of like the blogs, and it's not happening now, but there's a lot of
we love rumors
that are like, well, just in their like eventually like the past of of Beverly Hills, and it shows like Kyle and Dorit and Rinna, and it's like the future, and it shows like Sutton Garcelle. I mean, I do think eventually, yeah, the show is gonna look. We always get rid of people, and that's just.
Sutton grew on me this season. I adored Garcelle. There are times that I forget Dorit's on the show, which is terrible. I'm like, oh, there's Dorit in head to toe Vuitton. Fantastic. But again, if people love seeing the ridiculous aspirational, Dorit brings that in spades and always looks good doing it. She absolutely brings the ridiculous, the fashion, and this aspirational lifestyle that nobody quite understands. And PK and Mauricio together are a lot of fun to watch too. It'll be interesting to see Kyle on the outs with the big group, because she definitely sees herself the queen of Beverly Hills right now.
She does. I think one day, if it gets there, Lisa, especially with Vanderpump Rules not having good ratings, will be back, but it won't be soon. And I think Dorit will eventually be gone, because apparently I'm not so sure Dorit and PK don't have skeletons in their closet.
I mean, more.
I mean, I wouldn't. That's what is all written on the internet, that there's, that's Kathy has money and Sutton has money. Those are the two facts that I know.
I mean, and Kathy has ridiculous, unquestionable, exorbitant wealth, but I've really enjoyed watching Kathy this season. It's been refreshing and funny, and the out of touch harkens back to the simple life. Like we all understand Paris Hilton better now because
100.
we've watched Kathy operate in the world, and I enjoy that. Spin Kathy off and bring back a simple life with Kathy and Paris and Nikki, and I'd watch it.
Well, you know what I thought was really interesting too is like Erika is, like you say, angry at the world. She's so angry. She's that scene, that finale scene where like Sutton is basically asking for like, let's start over, and Erika's like, no. PK says it's the most uncomfortable he's ever been, or whatever the hell he said. And then I thought when they were having the dessert, like Erika's ready to like kill somebody, and anyone, she would have been like, get the fuck. Kathy Hilton goes over and is like, I want you to go over there and talk to Sutton, or just walk over. And she's like, oh, okay. Like that to me was like, Erika's just like,
yes, Kathy.
There's something about Kathy. Like you just don't, Kathy is like that. She's like, who else?
You don't fuck with Kathy Hilton. You don't fuck with Kathy Hilton is what it is.
Who else would she have walked over to that table if they asked her? Nobody.
No one.
I mean, and that's the other thing. Erika does have very rich friends. So like, she'll be okay when it comes to like vacations and birthdays and, like this thing, it factors in. Like, that's why I don't feel that bad for her when there's these victims. I just don't. I'm like, you're going to be fine.
You're going to be fine. Yeah.
If there's no criminal.
And even if there is, that isn't the scourge in society that it used to be. And we've seen that with Teresa. Like she will be fine. It might be unpleasant, but I think she will be fine.
She's similar to Teresa though, because Teresa, I mean, I know Teresa in real life. I mean, I've met Erika many times too, but like, Teresa is closed off in that sense. Like, I think that's where it's like, I'm not like, you have to close yourself off almost. Like if all this is going on around you, whether you read it or not, you just have to be like very robotic in a way to get through it, right? Like how would each of us get through it? I would just close. I mean, if you're
you wouldn't be getting up filming. You wouldn't be getting out of bed and filming every day when the hits keep coming. And you know what? Erika did her job on Housewives. She showed up. I don't think she answered every single question. Honestly, I don't think she shared all of the information. I didn't expect her to, but she showed up to filming every single time in the midst of her life being upended. Yes, Tom Girardi upended the lives of a lot of people. Erika's one of them.